It was a sunny first day of spring as National Immigration Reform Day played itself out in Salt Lake City. Tens of thousands of mostly Hispanic immigrants carried a sea of American flags as they walked up State Street toward the state capitol, including Salt Lake, in the dozens of cities across the country that saw marchers appeal for renewed effort by the federal government on immigration reform. The marchers began near the city-county building and moved past the Central Business District, Temple Square, and past Liberty Park into the avenues, gathering plenty of local media attention along the way. But the supporters weren't just Hispanic.
I have neighbors who are Hispanic. I have no idea what their status is, but they're hardworking, they're great neighbors, people I love and respect, and I cannot stand some of the frothing kind of comments I hear some people make about people who are of Hispanic origin.
If you read the post on the newspaper tomorrow on this article, you'll see how much blind hate there is.
Yeah.
And I hope that we can get rid of some of that.
Okay.
You know, I know people that are undocumented, that pay taxes, that work very hard, and are every bit as good a citizen as I am.
Walkers from north and south of the Capitol circled but didn't venture onto the State House grounds. Maybe because it wasn't the plan, but also perhaps because there was another group of protesters. This small band, positioned behind the parapet wall at the top of State Street, held their own signs and conveyed the distinct impression of being under siege.
I came here today because I honestly fear that America's laws no longer mean anything. And you'll notice, looking at all of these people, many of whom are illegal, you don't see any Vietnamese among them, you don't see any people from South or Central Asia for the most part, and that's because people that don't live on our border have to follow the law. Why do these people get a free pass because they're right next door, and because we don't have the time and money to stop them from coming in illegally, but the rest of the world has to follow the laws to come into this great country?
Nearby, the debate was more civil, but no less complicated.
And the system is broken. Absolutely. I just wish we could come to some middle ground here, because that's what that dude wants, whose mom is an immigrant, and that's what these people want. It's the same thing. This guy says historically that they're here originally, and I get that, but I wouldn't go to Ireland and try to do this, you know what I mean? Like,
Ireland came here.
Anyways, it's confusing with this. Me and New York and Logan are thrilled and missing each other, but that's all I've got to say.
Organizers ran the event with almost military precision, and as Frank Cordova, president of Central City Comunicado, who was overseeing the march, explained, the purpose was clear.
The purpose is to let Congress know where it's a national trend.
What's going on at the top of the Capitol? Who's up there?
I'll tell you in a minute. And anyway, it's a national trend. Today, everybody across the United States and Washington D.C. is marching for the purpose of bringing attention to Congress. It's time that we have immigration reform.
Some marchers turned back toward State Street, while others followed Gary Drive west, and then Main Street south to North Temple, where the groups converged at State Street on the way to the rallying point, the city-county building. But there were still more diverse voices before the walk was done.
What does your sign mean? It says 500 years of illegal immigration.
From the time of Columbus. From the time of Columbus came, we had all this disease brought to our people. That wiped out most of the native peoples here.
So then who are the illegal immigrants as far as you're concerned?
The Europeans.
Several groups from the Hispanic and Anglo communities organized the march and rally, and throughout the day, chants of "Yes, we can" echoed off the buildings lining State Street. As the walk culminated at the city-county building, the crowd showed no signs of tiring as speakers reminded them that their contributions to Salt Lake and the nation are also valuable. They listened and cheered to pleas extolling them to do everything they can to tell everybody they know to push for change in the immigration law.
Queremos paz, no hay paz, no hay paz.